All right, all right. Well, hello out there, awesome radio family. How are you doing? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us on 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You know it, WECU, every Tuesday now at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Are you ready to learn, engage, and inspire? Well, welcome to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show. I am your host for the next 50 minutes. Tonitia Langley, former classroom teacher from a traditional public school setting, education enthusiast, thought leader, founder, and education consultant and coach. I am so excited to partner with you and be dedicated to the heart of our community, which is education. The goal of the Let's Talk Education Show, in case you didn't know it, and you may be some of our new viewers or listeners, is to let others know that in the challenging educational landscape, there is a light that pierces the darkness, and there are educators working in the trenches, stakeholders, and educational thought leaders like myself, and as you see, my guests. Partnering to close the gap of the school to prison pipeline with tenacity, grit, and grind while providing hope. So nothing's changed. New year, but the same still stays the same for this show. I'm the host, but you and the community mean the most. You know what I'm getting ready to say. I would love for you to share your suggestions of what you would love to get more information related to K-12 topics, trends. Oh my goodness, by now we're a couple of days in from a new administrator. So all this good stuff. You don't have to hold it in. No, you don't. So if you're interested in sharing some of your thoughts or sharing some topical ideas you would like for me to expound on the show, email us at let's talk K12 education show at gmail.com. Again, let's talk education at gmail.com. So, on last week's show, I was solo and explored empowering educators 15 game changing strategies for professional growth amid uncertainties in 2025. I had me a real good old time on that show, y'all. And I provided tons of information regarding the topic. If you would like a recap of tools and resources for that show or any of previous Let's Talk K-12 shows, do a search, hashtag Let's Talk K-12, and catch us on the replay and comment hashtag replay by heading over to Facebook. You can put into your search bar Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, and you're going to see the purple and green logo. Or you can also catch us streaming over on YouTube, and that's at www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU. And yes, you are going to look for that beautiful purple and green. I think two of my favorite colors, as you can see. So here's to a year of innovation, collaboration, and shared successes. We're going to dive into the 2025 year with gratitude, purpose, where we make education everyone's community business. That is one of the things that I just take a lot of pride here on Awesome Radio on the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show. Welcome to our first show in our new time slot of the 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Woo! I'm excited about it. So, this time change from our 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. slot is designed to better connect with our incredible K-12 educators and listeners, making it easier than ever to tune in and engage with the conversations that matter the most. So it's important because it empowers educators, it enhances professional growth, and it help us to continue to build a K-12 community. So we're excited about that, guys. So welcome to our first show of the new time slot from 3 to 4 p.m. And I've got a familiar guest that you're going to find out about her in a minute. So as a mother to three and grandmother to eight grandbabies, as a former teacher, leader, and current education consultant, I recognize the importance of critical thinking skills. From that thought process, I created a segment on the show called How is Your Brain Game? So today will be a brain game riddle in alignment with our topic today. So riddle me this. I offer shelter from the storm. Where minds can grow and spirits warm, I teach you how to save and spend to build a future that will transcend. What am I? Do you know, Vakayla? I'll tell you, it goes with our show today, our show title, Safe Spaces and Smart Finances while nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. All right. And our quote today is our ability to reach unity in diversity with the beauty and the test of our civilization by Mahatma Gandhi, which is very in alignment with our safe spaces and smart finances, nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. All right, and today's show objective with safe spaces and smart finances, nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills, is to explore the transformative impact of creating safe spaces in K-12 schools while empowering students with essential financial literacy skills. This session aims to equip educators, parents, and school leaders with actionable strategies to foster emotional well being and build foundational financial knowledge that supports long term success for students. So, before we get into it today, I was going to talk about some thought provokers, but I think I'm just going to bring them up because I'm just so interested. I'm so ready to talk, to get to my guest and to get her spiel. But I will just put this out. I'm going to just talk about one thought provoker around our topic today, which is safe spaces, smart finances, nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. So, how can we ensure that financial literacy education is culturally relevant and addresses the unique financial challenges faced by students from diverse backgrounds? I think I will go ahead and hit number two because Vaquel was like, go girl, go and do number two. And then the number two thought provoker is, what is the role of technology in creating safe spaces and fostering financial literacy among K-12 students? And how can we mitigate the potential risk associated with technology uses? So just some thought provokers to put out there. We're going to cover some of a little, a whole lot of the other, and just a whole smorgasbord. So without further ado, let's get into our topic today. But before we do, let's introduce this lovely lady here, Miss Vakayla Pope. Miss Vakayla Pope is a managing broker at Onyx Realty Professionals, which brings a wealth of experience to the real estate industry. A former U.S. Navy veteran, thank you for your service. She understands the importance of preparedness and provides experts guidance to both buyers and sellers. With a background in construction management and a passion for helping others, Kayla specializes in working with first-time home buyers, investors, and military families. She is dedicated to empowering individuals to achieve their home ownership goals and is the founder of the Many Millionaire Moguls nonprofit, which focuses on teaching youth financial literacy. Kayla is committed to community service and believes in creating a more equitable and inclusive housing market for all. Miss Vakayla Pope.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the Let's Talk K-12 Education Show with our safe spaces and smart finances, nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So without further ado, I want you to go ahead before we've got about 11 minutes before our first break, and you can go ahead and talk about the topic that you want to talk about underneath our show topic today.
Okay. Okay, can you read that first one for me again?
Yes, safe spaces and smart finances. So if you want to just kind of go from there, because I know you built a foundation of a program around that, and that's why it was so intriguing to bring you on, because I know that is your purpose and your passion. So I know people can roll when they start talking about their purpose and their passion for the K-12 students and their families, and as we address the whole child. So you want to just kind of go from there. We got about 11 minutes.
Yes,
and then I can chime in when it gets good, and you start having all the fun. So you can take it from there.
Well, I believe when it comes to safe spaces, we absolutely have to build an environment for our youth to be comfortable and to be authentically them at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And because of situations, we never really know exactly what is going on in a child's life.
Very
That
true.
is important for them to know that it is somewhere that they can be protected in the event that they do want to speak on what's happening in their lives. And I say that from experience, because I experienced that with my first grade teacher. And as an adult, I
Mm-hmm.
always speak back on her because of her safe space that she provided to me
Mm-hmm.
as a youth, being basically sexually molested from the age of 5 through 12. She was my safe space. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important. I feel that it's very important because I remember that feeling. So for a child to be able to have that space for themselves to still grow into their own, because something like that could change your whole trajectory of your life.
And thank you, Michaela, for um, being transparent in your experience and to the full impact of being able to go to school. As a former classroom teacher, we do recognize that those safe spaces provided for students is more than just a place where they come and learn.
Mhm.
Like you said, your teacher provided that for you, and that carried and transcended into you as a youth, as an adult, as a person that served our country, as a very effective and community-based person that you are in your area of expertise. So we know the power. You are sharing the power of creating those safe spaces, and I do know we'll get into some of that. We got about 8 minutes before we go to break, but I know you're going to get into uh, what was birthed out of um creating the safe spaces. Like I said, I taught in a Title I school in a rural area, in my county, in my district. And so you're talking about probably out of 20 students sitting in my class. Out of those 20 students sitting in my class, I promise you 50 to 60% of them had some narrative.
Mhm.
And whether they expressed it or didn't express it, school was where it was. The classroom, even though I was structured to a T, that what I found out in my continued professional development, and going to some of the various workshops, just found out that creating even structure made them feel safe.
Yes.
Having routines in place made them feel safe. Having them to be accountable made them feel safe. As adults, we don't see that. We just see, oh, we're nagging the students or we're nagging the learners. But you just kind of shared um, that safe space impacted you
Absolutely.
and created. So did you still carry on a relationship with that teacher
I
once you got
did.
out of school?
I did for years until I left. I would always go back and visit her and things like that. I haven't seen her in years, but in probably about two years ago, about a year, 2023, like October 2023, I said this for the first time publicly about her, right? And then about 3 weeks after that, she passed.
Oh
So,
my
so
goodness.
I was happy that I was able to put it out in the atmosphere, because I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't seen her in years at
Mm-hmm.
this point. But I was happy to see that I had put it out in the atmosphere before she passed, and then once she passed, to see old schoolmates and things like that, the things that they wrote about her was
Mm-hmm.
basically the same thing I was feeling too. So
Mm-hmm.
to know that she was truly a light within our community, not only for me, but those other youth that are now adults, shared that same experience with her. So, that was really important for
And
me.
good. Wait, you know what? Ed snaps for that, Michaela. I'm glad that you were obedient and allowed yourself to be vulnerable and be transparent to share their information and to give her flowers.
Mm.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
Now you know this is right down my alley. So they're probably saying, well, oh my goodness, you guys are talking about safe spaces, but you're talking about smart finances. We're going to get to that. Hold on, hold on, hold on. It's all going to come together. It's all going to fit into Vakayla's story. It's all going to fit into her lived experiences. It's all going to fit into her purpose and her passion for the K-12 community and their families. She just had to give you that backstory, which is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, Vakayla, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that she was able to you were able to give her flowers instead of putting it on a grief card when she
Yes.
passed. And that just warms my heart as an educator, especially in those environments. All right. Ooh, okay. Emotional safety as a foundation. So when students feel emotionally safe and supported, they are more likely to take risk and make mistakes without fear of judgment, engage in open and honest discussions about their finances, which we're going to get to that, feel comfortable seeking help and support when needed. Vakayla is a face to that. Increase self-efficacy. In emotionally safe environments, students develop a sense of self-efficacy and believe in their ability to achieve their goals. Vakayla is the face of that. So am I. This self belief is crucial for making sound financial decisions and overcoming financial challenges. As you see, you wouldn't have known that about Vakayla's past when I read her bio. And it was just a teacher that took stock in her, saw this little light in this little girl who was broken, and said, what's that quote that says, broken crayon, still
Still
color.
color. That's
Still
right.
color. Ooh, gosh, I can't be getting emotional like this. I be losing my gangster on this show. Uh, increased self-efficacy, stronger relationships, emotional safety fosters strong relationships between students and teachers and between students themselves. These relationships provide support, guidance, and a sense of belonging, which are essential for developing financial literacy and making informed decisions. It builds resilience. Emotional safety helps students develop resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges. Oh my goodness.
All of that.
Oh my goodness. This resilience is crucial for navigating the complexities of personal finance and overcoming financial obstacles. Now, we are building the context around finances, but listeners and families, you do know if those relationships and bonds and safe spaces are established, it transcends just finances. But you know, we can sit all day long and create a whole nother show about how important financial literacy is. So we're just kind of marrying those two concepts together. Bringing on someone who I've done projects with her since, oh my goodness, since 2020. We've been working on
2020.
this since 2020. We've been knowing each other in the virtual airways. She is a standout woman. I think a lot of you, Vakayla, and what you have done in the community. And when I found out that you were creating a space, these safe spaces, to not only talk about finances, but to talk about etiquette and to talk about communication skills, because we've talked so much about, and
Mm.
I think if I say we need to work on soft skills, 101 more times, I will say it 101 more times. It is not that these students can't compete academically on a global, on the global scale. These babies are lacking soft skills. So that is one of the things that made me so excited about bringing you on, Vakayla, because not only are you're saying, hey, this is how important creating safe spaces are, but this is the body of work that's done within them and the foundation of how it was started. It makes me so excited. It makes me so proud for us to share some more of this information and both of our lived experiences in the next two segments. So we got about a minute. I'm gonna get ready to go ahead and take us into our first break. But Kayla, so glad that you could join us and have some fun with me on my first show with the new time slot and having some company. So you're listening to the Let's Talk K12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 and 1570 AM, where we make K12 education everyone's community business. We'll be right back after this short message with more inspiration for the world of K12 education. Welcome back to the Let's Talk K12 Education Show and the Awesome Radio WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You can find us here talking about all things education every Tuesday at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Let's Talk K12 Education Show. And again, you can find us and you can do hashtag Let's Talk K12 Education, or just simply go to Facebook and type in the search engine Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Look for the purple and green logo. You know that you're there. If you want to hop on over to YouTube, we're over there also. You can type in www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU with the purple and green logo. Want to contribute some thoughts and ideas to the show? By all means, help yourself. You can email us at let's talk K12education at gmail.com. So before our break, around our topic today, safe spaces and smart finances, nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. I think as you look at the guest here, I think that she is the face for everything that that title represents. We talked about, she shared her transparent narrative and her lived experiences as to why school was a safe space. We're going to get into why she creates safe, and that's the reason that she creates safe spaces. And we're going to get a little bit into this segment and in the next segment, what some of the things they're doing in those safe spaces. So, Vakala Pope, without further ado, before we get into our break today, we got about 8 minutes. Go ahead and take our radio listening audience and community back around those safe spaces and smart finances and how it's important as we are nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills.
Well, it's important. Within the safe space, there's so many other things going on. So we're building productive people. We're building productive citizens when it's all said and done. When people think of wealth, they always think of money, but it's so much bigger than that. Wealth is your soul. Wealth is how you treat people. Wealth is all of that. So my goal is always for the kids to be productive citizens when it's all said and done. So, and you know, and that can be done in many ways. Etiquette classes. We do etiquette classes because eventually they're going to be eating at $1 million spots. So they have to know how to conduct themselves. And so we do that. The parents love it. I had one of the parents call and say, this girl is over here telling us to get our hands off the table, get our elbows off the table. So that means they're listening, you know. And even with the, let's say, this public speaking, so everything that's done, they are made to get up and speak because you have to be able to voice your opinion. I tell people it's okay to voice your opinion. And our youth feel as if their opinion is different from their peers, they most likely will not say it. But you have to be okay with things like that. And some of us don't get okay with that until I was probably 40 something when I started being okay with really standing up and talking to people.
You know,
but I feel that was a I think that's a hindrance because you miss so much that you could have accomplished during that time. So the earlier that we get them involved with the understanding that their voice is okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing but up from that point.
So, Vakayla, you brought about two things that I want to mention. We got about 5 minutes before we take our station break. So I want to say I think it's so, as your word says, dope, but I know we probably shouldn't say, but so cool, so awesome, so fascinating that when you were talking about some of those soft skills that when they're in your safe spaces that you are addressing with these K-12 families, the holistic view of that child, that means not just that K-12 child, but that K-12's child's family, and that family is a part of the community, and the community is a part of an ecosystem. It makes me excited and it dropped in my spirit to say that you are changing the trajectories of generational wealth, because probably most times a lot of these students that are coming to you in your safe spaces to do what you do, that's the first time they've heard it, or their mothers heard it, or their grandmothers heard it, or anybody in their generations, sometimes probably 3 and 4 generations, that haven't heard about those good etiquettes and the importance of being able to get in front of people to speak publicly. It also brought me back to when you and I first met in 2020, working on one of those projects, one of those pandemic corona uh, pandemic projects that we're working on. And I remember you specifically saying, I'm just now starting to network with other people and speak with other people. Do you remember that?
That was my 2020 was the very first time I went to a networking event.
And so do you think that that was impactful in how you're thinking as you're in your safe spaces with these K-12 students? Do you think you thought about that too? It was a thought that you had?
In hindsight, yes. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I started, I wasn't doing as much with the youth,
Mm-hmm.
but now looking back, absolutely, it was all part of the plan. It was all part of God's plan. I believe that
No doubt about it.
just the way it fell in place.
No
Yeah.
doubt about it. That is so awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap around a little a quick case study
Mhm.
around everything that you just said, about those soft skills that you address in your safe spaces as it pertains to safe spaces, smart finances, while we are nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills. So there is a case study in Maplewood, a middle school located in a diverse urban district that faced challenges with student engagement, emotional well-being, and financial literacy. Recognizing these gaps, the school launched a safe spaces and smart futures program to create emotionally supportive environments and integrate financial literacy into their curriculum. Now, there's a couple different things that they did, and I'm gonna see if I can cover as many of these. I think I'm just gonna uh, just give the skeleton. I won't be able to get into the meat of it because we're getting ready to go to break. But the implementation was creating a safe space. They dedicated a weekly empathy hour. They trained teachers in trauma informed practices. Ooh, don't get me going.
Mhm.
They established peer support groups, and that sounds a lot of what you do in your safe spaces, Vakayla. Um, they embedded financial literacy, introduced age appropriate financial literacy lessons during advisory periods, partner with local banks to host interactive workshops, including role playing scenarios like managing allowances and setting financial goals. And they use gamified tools like financial literacy apps, excuse me, to make learning engaging and relatable. So, what were some of the outcomes? So, some of the outcomes from that case study is the emotional well-being survey showed 30% increase in students reporting a sense of belonging and emotional safety in schools. Teachers noted improved classroom behavior. So, what about financial literacy? Within a year, 85% of students demonstrated a foundational understanding of budgeting and saving. Several students reported applying their knowledge at home one of the things that you just said about one of your students, by assisting their families in managing household budgets, and the academic performance was the combined efforts led to a 15% increase in overall academic performance as students felt more supported and engaged. One of the things that you talked about, the safe space that was created for you, Vakayla. But we're getting ready to go into a break. So you're listening to the Let's Talk K12 Education Show on Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM, where we make K-12 education everyone's community business. We'll be right back after this short message with more inspiration for the world of K-12 education. Welcome back to Awesome Radio, WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. You can find us here talking about all things education every Tuesday on Let's Talk K-12 Education Show here on Tuesdays in our new time slot from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where can you find us? So glad you asked. You can go on over to Facebook if you do social media, and you can type in the search bar Awesome Radio 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Look for that purple and green logo. And if you are a YouTube fan over Facebook, that's okay. You can do both if you like, but we're on YouTube as well. Going over to YouTube, type in www.youtube.com at Awesome Radio WECU. Again, look for the purple and green logo. And if you've got some topics or some suggestions that you would like to have me to explore on the show, you can email us at letstalkk12education at gmail.com. Before our break, we got into Vakayla shared, some more of things that she do in those safe spaces to help break these generational curses, help changing trajectories. And it made me so excited. I almost didn't give her enough time to expound on it. But so we talked about some of those things that, she does in her safe spaces. And I shared a case study that gave you some data upon how impactful and important it is when you are developing those soft skills in those safe spaces with practitioners and thought leaders like Vakayla and myself, how impactful it is and how it actually impacted her to change some things in her own life, to get ready to get out there and do some public speaking and network with people. So, Vakayla, I'm going to let you take it back up and take them back to school with safe spaces and smart finances while we help our K-12 families talk about nurturing K-12 students with success and financial skills.
Yeah, I would like to sort of speak on when you was talking about changing the trajectory. Mm-hmm. We're real big on changing I would say changing the conversation at the dinner table. And I believe that the parents have to be involved with it, because it doesn't make sense to teach it to the child and then the child go back and say something to the parent and now that you don't know what they're talking about. So we try to do it as a whole when we can. And that's very important, whether we're talking about rule of 72, because we try to drop that seed in our youth now, so they can understand the basics of stuff like that.
Vakayla, can you just very quickly expound a little taste on what the rule of 72 is? And I'm thinking that's about financial literacy, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be great on our show.
So basically it teaches them about compound interest, and basically showing them how we teach them the difference between the interest rates for credit cards and your interest rate when it comes to banking, and to show them basically how quick that their money can double over time. Because when you think about it, our youth are getting jobs at 15, 16, and they may have jobs already around the house. So if they're putting that money in with the understanding of why, not just mama yelling, go put your money in the bank, go save your money. But why
Mhm.
am I saving my money?
Right.
That be the missing part of it, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what I found out is just that the parents really don't know because nobody taught them. So all they
Very,
taught them was to save,
very true.
you know. So I think that's a miss, and the kids, they love it, you know. So so that's one big thing. It, like, just planting seeds. That's always the goal, is to plant the seed. And
Mhm.
so so with that, and also with the public speaking, like you said,
Mhm.
we have had some youth that has been with us since day one,
Nice.
and they still come to different things. But to see, for example, one of the young ladies, the very first time she spoke, she cried the entire
Oh.
time. and
Oh.
and so, and I'm a person that records and documents everything,
Mhm.
so I get to see them from 4 years ago and show them what they're doing now. And just that
Nice.
difference is amazing. And I'm proud to say we went to a youth networking event about 2 months ago, and
Mhm.
she actually got up and spoke in front of everybody without being prompted to do it. So,
Mhm.
you know, like, her mom is super dope. She, you know,
Mhm.
but being in an atmosphere that they know I can do this here without judgment,
That's right.
allowed her to go into a new space
Right.
that she didn't know people, but
Mhm.
still feel secure in what she was saying. So
Mhm.
it all builds on top of it just builds. So
It
it's
does.
something that has to be done repetitively, you
Mhm.
know, but the results absolutely
And
show.
Michaela, it snaps to you because you talked about something that we you can't trace what you can't track. Or I'm probably tearing that quote all to pieces, but what I'm saying is something that we do in the educational community is we chart and track data.
Mhm.
So for you to know, okay, let me show you on day one, um boots shaking, um you being vulnerable, let me show you what you look like on day one, and you kept that as a set of data, and then to go back and say, sweetheart, look at this, look at where
Yeah.
you are. And then she was able to see, oh my gosh, in this safe space, practicing on these soft skills, I have did some personal development growing. I have grown. And as we send our sweet K12 students and learners into the world, it would be nice if all they needed was academic strengths, but that is not the case.
Right.
One of the things I do want to add, Michaela, that I want to give you continued ed snaps and give you your flowers and tell you in the safe spaces that you're creating and the soft skills that you are working with these students on, to keep it up, because as a middle school, as a former middle school teacher, what you're doing is you are strengthening and closing the gaps that these students have to make them marketable for scholarship opportunities, program opportunities. If they're able to do public speaking, and they're able to, you're also working on emotional and social skills, which are have huge gaps for the students of today. And I have said it on the show a gabillion times, and someone is probably throwing a rack of tissue at me right now when I say it again. I will continue to say it because it is so. There are some deficits in some foundational skills, soft skill sets that this population of learners are lacking.
Yeah.
So kudos to you in your safe space for charting it, checking it, and letting them analyze it. Come on now, pass me the
Thank
offering
you.
plate.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Because that is how they grow. That is why you get those results from that young lady who was pure terrified to talk.
Terrified.
You will probably be so excited when she says, Miss Pope, guess what? There were some people that came to our school today to do some interviewing for these great opportunities for programs and scholarship opportunities. And guess what? I'm a finalist. Or guess what? I was selected, because those are some things that recruiters are looking for.
Mhm.
Those are some things that these recruiters are looking for to grow their programs. And again, we don't know what's headed down the pipeline with where we're going under this new administration. These
Right.
students may have to be more competitive than where they were. So it is so great that you're creating the space um, to give them an advantage and the benefits of this. So it snaps to you, handing you your flowers,
Thank you.
and passing the offering plate to you at the same time as Pope. Um, so let me wrap around that for just a second. So how does financial literacy ties into broader life skills? uh, because it can establish the importance of financial literacy as a foundation for broader life skills like understanding money management, budgeting, saving, and decision making, which Ms. Pope talked about. Financial literacy is not just a standalone skill, as I mentioned earlier, but a gateway to developing critical thinking, which I talk about all the time, problem solving, and responsibility. And I will add accountability. So, how does financial decision making fosters analytical skills, which is something I also see our sweet K-12 babies are lacking or have gaps in? By understanding choices and consequences, budgeting requires evaluating income, expenses, prioritizing needs versus wants, because sometimes they don't know the difference and adults don't either. Okay, but I said it.
True, true.
Deciding between saving for a long-term goal and spending on immediate gratification. It also helps with analyzing information, comparing options, such as, and I think you mentioned it, such as interest rates, because you talked about those saving tools, investment opportunities, help students assess data critically. Students can analyze different savings accounts and justify their choices based on interest rates and fees. You discussed it and talked about it, Ms. Pope, when you said compound interest. Now, we will say, as a caveat, for some of those families that are suffering from generational poverty mindsets that don't even do savings, if you at least do savings, we're high-fiving you. But but Miss Pope and I are wanting you to take it a little step further, that there are more financial tools out there for your little ones and your young adults that's going to be going out into the communities, that we want you to think about as it pertains to compound interest. Compound interest allowed me the opportunity, as I was going through a sink in my education consulting business, I was able to stay out and not have to get a full-time job again, because I had investments that compounded interest. I didn't put a whole lot of money in there because I'm an educator. I didn't have a lot of money. But you can cool believe I said, okay, I can eat out less, order less pizza, and take that $25 to $50 and stick it into a Vanguard account. Hello, I said it.
Yes.
So these are things that we're gonna be your co-pilots in this. And if you are at least saving money, we are going to give you a high five and congratulate you for meeting a milestone. Now we want you to let's do it for Kayla. Now we're going to step out of your comfort zone and get into some of those financial tools for your little ones. Like what I have for my grandchildren, I've got them life insurance is set up. I have them savings. I have them a savings account set up, but I'm getting ready to convert it to high yield savings. And I'll determine if I'm going to do a 504 education plan, because I want to know what happens to the money in case they decide I don't want to go to
Mhm.
school. So that is why I have been dragging my feet on that. And they're young now. So you're talking about doing a little, pennies on the dollars now, and they're little. By the time they get to be 18, 19, 20, 21, and making those life decisions, if they're going to go to college, start a business, do something monumental, then they'll have it, or have a good chunk of it. So
Yeah, they
Like I
don't
said,
got to start from behind.
they will not start from behind like me and my husband basically had to. And I was glad that my family, gave me the opportunity to take my money and take care of me. But once I became a young lady and me and my husband got married, there were no assets for him, there were no assets for me. What we got is what we came together and worked and and put together to have.
Mm,
So like I said, girl, I could do a whole show when you're talking about financial literacy. And I think it should be taught more in the curriculums in schools. But
absolutely.
so I know you wanted to get a little piece. We got about 5 minutes before we end the show. But Kayla, I had some more, but I want you to come on in if you wanted to, if something touched you and you wanted to expand on it a little taste.
Um, I guess I just want to say, like, it's never too early. Is never too early. My youngest client in real estate was 19.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for
Wow.
them to even think about at the age of 19 of home ownership,
Mm,
these seeds have got to be planted. I, some parents are planting the seeds and all I have to do is help water them. But some
mm,
people are not. So it's the first time for some.
mm-hmm.
So and so it's there, it's doable, and they may not buy at 19, but because they're going to college or whatever, by the time they get in a place where they're ready on the job at 25, they may be ready because now they have some type of understanding about things like that. So, it's just getting the information to them sooner than later. That's really the biggest thing.
Exactly. And sometimes I think too, Vakala, you bring up a good point. I think that families, most communities are thinking that, oh, well, I have to be a trust fund baby to have those conversations. Or I have to be in the elite group in order to start talking about stocks or investments. Or even before you even have the money to do anything, we talked about, starting small. And like you said, us planting those seeds and having those conversations. One thing I can say about I think I am into financial literacy, even though I didn't have a running start. I can say my mother, Queen Esther Baker Rogers, God rest her sweet soul. I miss that lady terribly. Did a beautiful job with providing me with financial literacy. We didn't have a lot, but she taught me about banking very early on. She taught me about making wiser choices when it comes down to how I spend my money. She taught me about the difference between wants and needs. So even though she didn't have a lot, the seeds, as you say, Vakala, was planted in me to
Right.
always love financial literacy because my sweet mother taught me that. And she came from she had a lot of financial hardships along the way, as she was raising me. But the best gift that she gave me was to give me the thought process about money is a tool, use it as such, and have some restraints. But anyway, yeah, so you're so right about watering those tools. And
Mhm.
um you wouldn't think that I would love financial literacy the way that I do because of my upbringing of just some regular folk who work hard, who was loving and kind and loved family and didn't have anything else. But my mother planted the seed of what to do with money and to utilize it as a tool, and she created a safe space for me.
Good job, Mom.
Yes, 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 she did. So I have some thought leadership around our topic today, but before we get ready to close out, I want to give you an opportunity to give some parting words, Vakala. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I want to give you an opportunity to close us out today around our safe spaces and smart finances. And while we talk about nurturing our K-12 students with success and financial skills, we got about a minute and 40 seconds.
All right. Real quick. Thank you for having me, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Um,
Pleasure.
I just want to say that our youth are listening. And
Hmm.
it don't matter what it is, the good, the bad, the ugly, they are listening. So either you're gonna plant good seeds in them or
Hmm.
you're gonna plant some junk that's not gonna take root.
Mm-hmm.
But be mindful at all times they are listening and watching. And that's all I really want to say on that.
And you are the poster child for your words of wisdom that you just gave our listening and viewing audience. Again, there would have been there is no alignment from your bio to your narrative that would put you two together. But because of all of the safe, all those things, creating your safe spaces and walking in your purpose and passion, you've been able to do that. So I want to thank you, Miss Michaela, for coming on to Michaela Pope for coming on to the show. This is Tonitia Langley. I'm your educational enthusiast, thought leader on the Let's Talk K12 Education Show every Tuesday at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, stay well and continue to make educational equity everyone's community business. Thank you for joining us today on the awesome radio WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM from the Let's Talk K12 Education Show. See you next week. Bye.